Welcome to Why Every Supply Chain Professional Needs the APICS CLTD, the third webinar in our four-part series about the APICS certification program. Today, I'd like to introduce Bob Collins, APICS Senior Director of Professional Development. Bob has over 25 years of experience as a supply chain professional, as both a practitioner and consultant, and has been on the APICS staff for over 10 years. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you, Kim, and I'd like to introduce Lisa and Corey. I'm very happy that they'll be joining us on the webinar today. Lisa is our Senior Director of Certification, and she has 13 years of Certification Association leadership experience, 8 years of it here at APICS. As Senior Director of Certification, Lisa is here to discuss how the APICS certification process works. Corey is Director of Product Development with over 20 years of training and development product management experience. She acts as the CSCP Learning System Product Manager and has led our development efforts on the new CLTD learning system. So welcome, Lisa and Corey.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
So today, we'll talk about why you should earn the CLTD, how to prepare and take the exam, and we'll go over some of the common questions asked about this credential. There are hundreds of you attending today, which we're very excited about, and we're looking forward to answering any questions you might have about these programs. We'll start by looking at the area of focus for CLTD, who it is designed for, and how the APICS CLTD certification can enhance your career. And there will be a special offer for the attendees of this webinar near the end. So what is the CLTD? Compared to CPIM and CSCP, CLTD has a bit of an outside focus, but more specifically in the deliver or return functions in your company. Deliver and return refer to two of the level 1 processes in the SCORE framework. The CLTD validates mastery of day-to-day functions of logistics, distribution, and transportation, and is our newest certification and came out of our merger with the American Society of Transportation and Logistics, or AST&L. In the first 6 months since its launch last year, over 700 professionals worldwide have earned the CLTD. To learn about the areas of focus for CPIM and CSCP, you can access a blog I posted recently on which certification is right for you. Within the blog, there is a link to the corresponding webinar we recently presented, and the blog is located here at the bottom of your screen. So as I said, the CLTD has a deliver and return focus. It can help professionals like you gain recognition in the field as a logistics expert, expand your outlook and bring new ideas to your workplace, positively impact your organization's bottom line, and demonstrate your long-term commitment to your profession and demonstrate mastery of logistics, transportation, distribution, knowledge, and skills. Lisa, we've done some analysis on those professionals who successfully taken the CLTD exam. Would you share this information with the listeners?
Well, based on the demographics of individuals pursuing CLTD, those listed here are the top 10 job titles of CLTD certification holders. There, of course, are certainly many more job titles applicable to CLTD, but these are the most frequently reported. So Bob, why should a logistics professional consider earning the CLTD?
Well, you know, Lisa, supply chain and logistics is all about collaboration. The CLTD provides a body of knowledge and standards for professionals that are in logistics, transportation, and distribution. It also helps employers fill the skills gap in supply chain that has frequently been commented on in the news, and helps professionals and corporations better maximize the corporation's value chain. Finally, CLTD validates your knowledge and competency in logistics, making you more valuable to your employer. And Lisa, Gartner, the research company, recently reported on the top 10 predictions for global logistics organizations. Would you tell us a bit about that?
I would be glad to, Bob. So Gartner, one of the foremost American research and advisory firms, published a report in 2016 that indicates that more than 60% of surveyed companies indicate that expectations for a near-perfect logistics performance places increasing stress on organizations. Top issues expected to affect global logistics organizations include having to systematically report emissions and environmental data, formalization of functions related to compliance and risk management. Slower global trade growth will force the optimization of international flows. And finally, the need to adopt a supply chain execution convergence strategy. With a projected 22% increase in logistics jobs by 2022, logistics is clearly one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Transportation remains the second largest employment sector in the United States, employing over 6 million people. And pursuing the CLTD certification will enable you to pursue lucrative careers in these fields. So Bob, what are the benefits to earning the CLTD to individual professionals?
Well, certification does bring a lot to the individual. It validates that the professional has mastered a specific body of knowledge by a reputable third party. The CLTD teaches skills to help the professional better manage the logistics function in a global environment, opens up opportunities for the certified professional to improve their career and earning potential, and shows employers that they are invested in and willing to improve themselves and their skills. And then there is the access to the network of logistics professionals through a class you might take or through APICS membership. But don't take our word for it. Here are some of our recent CLTD candidates and what they're saying about the program.
So we have Jimmy from Hewlett-Packard who indicates that having the CLTD certification prepares him to have the best of both worlds with deep technical ERP expertise, plus the ability to provide process solutions independent of the technology being used.
And Sunil from Abunayan said, I strongly recommend for anyone who wishes to excel in the logistics field to sincerely try and be CLTD certified. Within 3 months of serious self-study, I managed to cover the course content thoroughly, appeared for the exam confidently, and successfully passed the exam.
And Charles from Erickson says, now that I have added CLTD to my LinkedIn page, I am seeing tremendous activity and pings on my profile. It has delivered on what I had hoped it would, visibility.
Now, organizations with CLTDs on their staff can anticipate better alignment of their global logistics initiatives with their business objectives, better productivity, collaboration, and innovation. Having a standard vocabulary and a common understanding of logistics terms and processes based on global practices, not only throughout your company, but throughout the whole end-to-end supply chain, makes communication and collaboration easier and more effective.
As Bob said earlier, we are very happy to have Corey Heinen, who has helped develop all of the APICS learning systems for several years now. Corey, would you help tell us about how candidates can prepare for the CLTD exam?
Sure, Lisa, I'd be happy to. Well, in deciding to take the CLTD exam, you don't want to take that commitment lightly. So we're going to share 4 simple step approach to make sure that you're ready. So the very first step, number 1, is you want to plan your studies. So begin with the end in mind, create a study plan, and assess your strengths and weaknesses. Step 2 is to study the reading materials. This is where you want to focus on your weak areas and sections of the exam that are weighted higher than others. Step 3 is to apply what you've learned by taking quizzes, practice tests, and using flashcards and glossary. You can go back to step 2 on any difficult topics. Make sure that you're testing yourself. So put yourself in exam mode by completing the practice exam emulation test. And then finally, step 4 is to take the exam. Now, I'm going to walk through each of these steps in a little bit more detail for you. So let's start with step 1, planning your studies. The number one question that I often receive from candidates is, how much time does it take to get ready for the exam, or how much time do I need to study? So I typically respond that every person learns a bit differently and at a different pace. So study times can vary based on your years of experience, your expertise level in supply chain, the study method that you choose, and how quickly you can read and comprehend topics. So it's a good idea to plan for about 100-hour study time investment. Now, when we've surveyed candidates that were successful in passing the exam, 56% said that they studied 75 hours or more when they were preparing for the CLTD exam. So that's a good indicator of how much time it's going to take. We've also included some study time estimates within the learning system to give you an idea of the length of time to spend going through all of the learning tools. The Smart Study tool, I think, estimates about 66 hours to go through each of those items as an average. Now, those average study times within the learning systems are based on the number of pages to read, the number of online questions included, and the time to review the other learning tools, such as the flashcards or the Resource Center documents. You can create a customized learning plan using the Smart Study tool within the learning system, and that's going to help you work back from your chosen exam date to take full advantage of all of the tools included within the prep material. So the learning system is also designed to support your chosen learning style. So the learning option you choose will also help you guide your study plan. So part of your study plan should be determining how to review the topics that will be tested on the exam. The CLTD Courseware Committee develops the comprehensive study tool to help candidates prepare for the CLTD exam, which I've mentioned we call the learning system. We feel that the best way to study for the CLTD exam is by using the learning system. It covers the content from the Exam Content Manual, or ECM, and organizes over 125 references into one comprehensive, easy-to-read source, and incorporates reinforcement tools to make sure that you're really mastering the content. The CLTD learning system contains both reading materials and web-based study tools. There are 8 modules that make up 4 textbooks covering all of the content areas in the ECM. The printed books are also available in an e-reader format. The web-based study tools are a collection of educational activities that support the reading materials. So as you can see in this list here, there are many different online reinforcement tools, including both a pre-test and a post-test. There are section quizzes, flashcards, and many other tools that are going to help you prepare for the exam. The APICS certification learning systems are designed to be used in a variety of different ways. So you can choose the delivery format that best matches your learning style and budget. The learning system is designed for those who wish to self-study, but if you prefer to study with others, many different APICS partners offer instructor-led courses and study groups that use the learning system materials. So this is a great option that provides the additional benefit of expert instruction and also the opportunity for discussion with peers as you review the materials together. So you can check for a local chapter or a partner in your area, and I've included a link at the bottom of this slide that you can visit for additional details. Now, for any organizations that want to offer more than self-study to their employees and would like to take advantage of volume discounts, they can receive guidance from our corporate development group on how to organize any in-house class. So now that once you've determined your plan, the next step is to study the material. So this takes us on to step number 2. As I mentioned, the CLTD learning system covers the entire APICS CLTD exam content manual. The reading materials are organized into 8 modules, which are provided in both print and then digital e-reader formats. This makes up 4 different books. There are over 900 pages of content included. At the end of each section within the books, there are additional progress check questions to make sure that you're mastering that content that you're reading. And all of the books are organized information from all of those ECM references. The main point I want to just stress here are that the books are easy to read. They are rich in graphics. They have lots of room for you to include your notes, and they also lay flat while you're reading and marking your notes. And what will you learn? So this slide just lists out all of the topics that are covered. The CLTD courseware aims to educate you. The purpose of education is first to convey knowledge, and then second, to give the learner a chance to apply that knowledge. The learning system is designed to help you prepare for the CLTD exam, as well as providing essential logistic knowledge that you can apply at work today. So this just gives you a high-level overview of the 8 modules that are covered in the reading materials. So let's move on to step number 3, reinforcing the concepts. So as you read through the materials, you want to make sure that you are understanding and mastering the concepts. So the CLTD learning system includes an online component that has online quizzes and activities for each module. All of the quiz questions provide immediate feedback after you answer a question. So you're going to know immediately if you answered a question correctly or incorrectly, including feedback rationale that reinforces the answer. It also then guides you back to the reading materials for additional study. The learning system also tracks your progress through these tools. So you can see your areas of strengths and weaknesses and focus on the chapters that you need additional review. Now this next screen is just going to show you some screen captures from the online component. The online component is organized by module. So each module includes access to the electronic version of the reading materials for that module. You can link to an online glossary, go through flashcards to practice key terminology for that module, and then there's a number of different online quizzes that are organized by module and section. And then finally, there are reinforcement practice exams. So we posed a question to you in the registration form for this webinar about which exam resource you were most interested in. The majority of you were most interested in this practice test. So this is something that is included when you purchase the learning system. The practice exam allows you to experience the format and functionality of taking the computer-based APICS CLTD exam. It's a timed exam, just like the real actual CLTD exam. The time remaining is shown at the top of the exam screen. You have the option to flag questions that you want to return to after completing the exam. All of the questions that are included in the practice exam are what I refer to as exam-like questions, in that they are written in the same format as questions used in the CLTD exam. And when you finish the practice exam, you'll get your results immediately, and you can review what questions you answered correctly or incorrectly. Now, if these resources seem too basic, just remember that it can really help to calm nerves if you know what to expect on exam day. So you want to test your retention and your ability to apply the concepts through these quizzes and online learning activities.
Corey, I just want to pop in for a moment. Something you touched on that I really want to emphasize to our listeners is there is a difference between the quizzes that are used after each section of the workbook or the learning system and the final practice exam. The quizzes are knowledge, what we call knowledge questions. They're designed to determine, did you understand what you just read? And they're very important. It's the kind of question you see in a normal college class. The practice exam, however, is much like the actual APICS exam in that it offers application questions. Can you apply this body of knowledge in certain situations? And so that's one of the important reasons to take the practice exam before you go in to take the actual exam, to make sure that you have a good understanding of how the questions are asked and how you need to respond.
Yeah, that's a great point, Bob. And with that, I also have a couple extra study tips that we can remember and share for when you're preparing for the CLTD exam as well. So first, just remember that there are many different ways to successfully study for this exam. So you can choose the method best suited for your learning style, whether that be self-study, instructor-led, or study groups. Next, make sure that you create a plan. So start by setting your exam date and commit to it. This really helps to avoid procrastination. Identify your strengths and weaknesses on all of the different exam topics. So you need to be familiar with the exam content manual outline to make sure that you're studying each of these topics. And as I mentioned, the learning system quizzes will really help you to identify what areas you should focus on for additional study. Make sure, just what Bob was mentioning, make sure that you go beyond memorizing. So this test is not just about recalling knowledge items, it's also going to ask you to apply those concepts. So make sure that you understand them. This final practice exam in the learning system really is going to help you apply that knowledge. We also suggest that you view the video by APICS instructor Liesl Smith, and the video is called Techniques for Successfully Taking APICS Exams. Now, that video is included in the learning system, or it can also be purchased separately in Shop APICS. In the video, Liesl shares techniques to achieve the highest score possible on your exam. She also includes tips for non-native English language speakers. So it really is a good way to ease that test anxiety. And finally, speaking of test anxiety, the best way to ease it is to know what to expect on exam day. So know where the test center is located. Make sure that you know the process of what it will be when you get there and what to expect in the test format functionality. So to help you with that last item, we've included some additional resources to prepare you for exam day. So Lisa, there's a few more resources that the exam candidates might be interested in. Can you talk through each of those resources?
Absolutely, I'd be glad to, Corey. So the APICS CLTD exam content manual is the guide to the CLTD exam and outlines the CLTD tested body of knowledge. The CLTD exam content manual is provided with each learning system, or it can be ordered separately as a standalone product directly from APICS. The APICS exam handbook provides information on the testing process and how to find a test center. The APICS Dictionary and Learn It app is the essential supply chain reference and is free to members. The app has more than 4,500 terms from the dictionary and includes flashcards and a word of the day. And there are also test-taking tips and an instructional video for test-taking best practices available on the APICS website. So finally getting to step 4 and taking the exam. Exams are delivered on demand worldwide at Pearson VUE test centers. Individuals will immediately receive their score at the test center after completing the exam and will know if they passed or failed. The exam is one 3.5-hour, 150-question test. I suggest scheduling the exam when you begin your training and learning system instruction in order to ensure a higher level of success in meeting your personal certification objective. In general, we have found that candidates who test within 3 months of completing their instruction have a much higher success rate in passing the exam. All of the exam questions are based on the information contained in the list of ECM references. This is one of the many ways that APICS ensures the certification reflects industry-accepted best practice standards. When taking the exam, people generally get tripped up when they don't read the question properly. So take time to make sure you have a correct understanding before narrowing down the possible answers. This testing strategy, among others listed here, is covered in the Liesel video that Corey had mentioned earlier. With computer-based testing, you can mark the questions you are unsure of and revisit them after you finished all of the others to see if perhaps something may have jogged your memory. If not, go back and try to reason through the answers. Eliminate the answers that you know are wrong, and that usually leaves you two possible answers for them then to choose from. Read the question again carefully and take your best shot. So with the end in mind, we recommend filling out the eligibility application as one of your first steps. The application is free and easy, and the approval never expires. The eligibility application must be received 2 weeks prior to the day you register for the exam. You will receive notification of your eligibility immediately after completing the application unless you are flagged for an audit. Also, people often ask us what APICS means by supply chain related business experience. Related business experience is work that directly connects to some aspect of the supply chain, and we've listed a few of these areas on the slide as potential examples. For more information, please refer to apics.org/CLTD. Now, some helpful tips for a successful test experience and test day. As I previously mentioned, we have free test-taking tips which you can download from the APICS website that covers these points and more. You can also find detailed exam day preparation information in the exam handbook. It is helpful to reduce any stress-generating situations immediately prior to taking your test. So being prepared on the process and arriving early will definitely set you up for success. As a reminder, you will also receive your pass-fail results immediately at the test center once you complete your exam and you submit it for scoring. When you pass the exam, and I like to think positively for all of you, you'll receive an email that includes instructions on how to download or purchase your certificate and upload your information into LinkedIn. Your name will also appear in the APICS Credential Verification search results as having an active CLTD certification for as long as you maintain your certification. Credential verification is a service that elevates the credibility of APICS credentials. Anyone can look up an individual's credentialing status on this page. The page is located at apics.org/verification. To maintain the CLTD certification, individuals are required to pursue activities to support ongoing professional development over a 5-year period. Details on this program are listed in the Certification Maintenance Bulletins.
So before we get to our question and answer session, let's review a few common questions that you may have. We'll start with, how much does the CLTD learning system and exam cost? Note that there are plus member and core/non-member pricing. As you can see, it pays to become a plus member before purchasing either the learning system or the exam. If you are currently a core member, we have made it easy to upgrade your membership to the plus membership. Many of our U.S. chapters and international partners offer CLTD classes. Those prices are set by the partners and not by APICS, and the price will vary by partner and location, so they are not listed here. You also may be asking yourself, will this really help my career? Efficiencies learned through the CLTD certification can reduce costs and increase profits for your company. In addition, you'll become more valuable and show that you understand some of the broader concepts of how logistics fits into the overall supply chain and business model, getting you noticed by senior management. Remember what Lisa said earlier about logistics being one of the fastest growing industries in the world, with a projected 22% increase in logistics jobs by 2022? The CLTD certification can position you to take advantage of these expanding career opportunities. Another question you may be asking yourself is, why should I invest money to get the CLTD? When you look at it holistically, the CLTD is a relatively small investment now that can give you long-term gains. Research shows that certified professionals earn 12% more on average than their non-certified peers. Well worth the $2,000 to $3,000 investment. So it's time to make that decision, but you want to talk your boss into helping you support your certification goals. How do you do that? Well, we've developed a Getting Started Toolkit to help you get the conversation started. Visit learncltd.com/getting-started to download these resources. Corey, one of the other biggest concerns we hear from potential candidates after how to pay for the program is how to find the time you need to study and take the exam. I think you have some advice for these folks.
As a matter of fact, I do, Bob. So you know there is rarely a perfect time to commit for earning a certification. We all have busy lives and not enough time for everything that we want to accomplish. So you need to make this a priority. But remember, it doesn't have to take over your entire life. So if you make a realistic study plan that works for your life, it makes it all better. So keep these considerations in mind so you can plan for the exam. First, determine the amount of time you're going to need to study. So we recommend a minimum of 75 hours to prepare for the CLTD exam. It's also best to take the exam within 3 months of completing the learning system, as Lisa had mentioned. The longer that you wait, the more you are going to forget. Also, use the Smart Study tool provided in the learning system. So after taking a pretest, you will determine the most important exam topics you need to focus on, and those that are the most difficult for you, so you don't waste any of your valuable study time. The learning system is made for busy professionals, so it allows you to use your time wisely to get you ready for exam day.
So once you've made a decision to pursue the CLTD, what do you do next? Well, my strong recommendation is to start by filling out the eligibility application. As Lisa said, it is free, and she'll give you some more information about eligibility in just a moment. If you're eligible, then purchase the latest CLTD learning system. APICS updates the learning systems annually to make sure that our candidates have the most up-to-date help for that year's exam. Plus, you can't get access to the online quizzes, practice exams, and the other tools that Corey has talked about if you don't have the most recent learning system purchased from APICS. Then I encourage you to purchase an exam authorization to test, or ATT, right away. The ATT gives you up to 6 months to actually register for and take the exam. Why would you purchase the exam before completing your studies? Because you will have committed to a date or range of dates that you are working toward. This will help you avoid procrastination and make it more likely that you will take the exam and get certified. Don't let your hard work go to waste. No one, and I mean no one, feels ready for the exam when they first sit for it. But if you have a solid study plan, have used the paper and online learning system the way that they are designed to be used, take the exam shortly after you complete your study, then you have a better chance than most at success. So here's the special offer that we had talked about at the beginning of this webinar. If you order an individual copy of the APICS CLTD Learning System between April 19th and May 3rd, 2017, and use the code CLTD17, you will get a $50 off of the cost of the learning system. Now, this is for new individual copies of the CLTD Learning System only. If you're an APICS member, plus member, then the price will drop from $8.95 to $8.45. And if you aren't a member or you're a core member, the price will drop from $11.95 to $11.45. Order online at learncltd.com/CLTD17 or call the number on the right side of your screen. Lisa, can you remind our candidates about the eligibility requirements and let them know where they can apply?
I'd be glad to, Bob. We recommend that you apply now for eligibility. Again, it's free, never expires, and allows you to easily begin the first step in your journey to becoming CLTD certified. You must meet one of the criteria listed on this slide. Check the chat box now. We just sent all attendees the eligibility link. Just copy and paste it into your browser, log on to the APICS website, and complete the application process, which shouldn't take actually more than a minute to finish. It is actually really that simple. You'll receive notification of your eligibility status almost immediately after your submission, unless you are flagged for audit. And if you do this now, you may just become CLTD eligible by the time the webinar ends.
And so here are some additional resources that will help you learn more about the CLTD program. All right. It is time to start looking at the questions that you've been posting to us. Please continue to do so. We'll get to every question that we can today. Any question, any legitimate question that we are unable to get to during the rest of this time, we will take all of the legitimate questions and put them in a document, a Q&A document, get answers for those questions, and make that document available with the recorded webinar after when it's put up on apics.org. So let's take a quick look at some of the questions. I thought I noticed one up front. One of the first questions, I'm pursuing a master in industrial systems engineering and I have interest in a logistics job, but the thing is I only have an internship experience as a logistics coordinator in India. So being a recent graduate in this, will CLTD benefit me for my job hunt? If yes, how? My opinion is that it will help you in your job hunt. Many employers see value in certifications. Certifications tend to be focused on specific applications and activities. College degrees, bachelor's and master's, PhDs, are absolutely great for you, but I think many employers tend to see them as being a tad more theoretical than day-to-day practical, which a certification can offer you. We've had a number of college graduates who have earned a certification or part of a certification and found that it made their job hunt very much easier, and they're very successful. So I wish you success as well.
I can jump in, Bob.
Yeah.
On one, we have a couple of questions on so far what is the pass rate for the CLTD exam.
Yeah.
And at this point, we are not publishing pass rate because we're still in the first year of introduction for the program, and we need to gather a sufficient statistical information in order to do that. So the pass rate will likely be published beginning in January of 2018. When we have sufficient information on a large pool of candidate testing.
Good, thank you. Someone else is asking, I'm currently a truck driver for Kroger and will receive my BBA next year in May. Will this certificate broaden my career in logistics? I would say absolutely. If you're working on your BBA, then I'm sure that you're ambitious enough to want to do more in your career, especially in the management area. And the certification will give you a very solid, wide-ranging base, not only of logistics, but in the distribution area as well as transportation. So I would suggest that this would indeed broaden your horizon and give you more career opportunities.
Here's an interesting question, Bob. Maybe you can address that. So someone who is CSCP certified, is there an advantage for them to also get CLTD?
It could be. It really depends on their career goals. Just like we talked about in, which certification is right for me. Personally, back when I was a practitioner and an ERP consultant, I had both the CPIM and then earned the CSCP on top of it because it broadened my horizon. CLTD will go much deeper into the logistics, the return side and deliver side of supply chain than CSCP does. CSCP is a much broader end-to-end look at the supply chain, so CLTD will dig kind of deeper into that. If your career aspirations move into that logistics distribution area, and for many of you they probably should because of the tremendous growth in the jobs in that area over the next 5 to 10 years. The two of them combined I think would give you a leg up within the job market.
I'll jump in here now, Bob. I see there's a couple questions on the learning system. There's one person that's asked about the 75 hours to complete the CLTD, and does that include time to go through the learning system? So that is actually our study estimate for completing all of your prep material review. So we say on average between 75 to 100 hours would be what to expect to go through all of the learning system materials, the reading materials, as well as utilizing those online reinforcement tools. Now that will vary slightly depending on some of the reasons I gave earlier. If you read quicker, if you understand the concepts, depending on what your experience level is and your level of comprehension while you're going through those materials. But that will give you a good gauge to what to expect and time commitment in preparing for the exam. We also include, as I mentioned, there's a customized study plan that's included within the learning system. So after you take an online pretest, you can create that study plan using that Smart Study tool, and that will help you guide through your plans for getting through all of the materials by your exam date.
That's great. Does having both the CPIM and CSCP designations help to flatten the learning curve for the CLTD exam? It's an interesting question because we certainly have some folks that now have all three of our certifications. In one sense, it will. The CSCP is a high-level look and covers, at a high level, some of the topics in CLTD. The CPIM is more focused on operations management, but there certainly is just a little bit of crossover. where the advantage will really come from is knowing how APICS asks exam questions, for knowing how the exam process works, for knowing how to use the learning system, as you probably did for the CSCP. So some of those things will certainly be much easier for a person like this. And there is, although there's not a lot of crossover, there is a little bit. So I think you would find it an easier course to take than someone who has never taken an APICS course or APICS exam previously, because you've got some related experience.
And it's really all in the field of the supply chain body of knowledge, and really once you're understanding and knowing the terms in the dictionary, that really helps to give an individual a leg up.
Yes, yes.
We're just taking a moment to read a few of the questions that are coming in.
So here's another one for the learning system. I'll answer this one. So the question was, should I wait to purchase the CLTD learning system until there's an update, or will my purchases be updated as new versions come out? So, and how long will I have to access the study system? So as Bob mentioned, the learning system is published on an annual basis. So the next edition is going to be coming out beginning of 2018. So I would say go ahead and get it right away and get started. You have access online to the online reinforcement components for 12 months from your date of enrollment. So we really feel that going through and completing this within a 12-month period is realistic, and it gives you a goal to move forward to. So I'd say don't bother to wait. As it gets closer to the new edition coming out, we do provide existing students access to a net change document. So any of the changes that we're making in the new edition, we make available to existing students, so you know what's changing. So you can determine if you're still feeling comfortable to study with your current edition, or you want to upgrade and get a new version of the learning system to study for.
That's great. I had a pleasant reminder that, again, many of our APICS partners offer CLTD classes or study groups. You can go to the main page of apics.org and look for learning opportunities, and hopefully you would find a course somewhere near where you are. If you cannot, again, this material is well designed for self-study, but we can certainly understand why people would appreciate an opportunity to be in a class. It not only provides opportunities that Corey mentioned of working with other people as you prepare, but it provides a structure for you, and some of our students need that structure, outside structure imposed on them. So finding a class locally, if possible, is a good option for many of you. So how beneficial is having your CPIM prior to embarking on the training and testing for CLTD? My answer would be similar to the answer I gave the gentleman who had both CPIM and CSCP. There is a little bit of overlap, but again, understanding how APICS asks questions, how the testing process works, really helps your confidence level and your ability to go in and take additional APICS exams. So it may indeed have some benefit for you. Someone asked about Europe and the APICS certifications in general, and how well known they are in various parts of the world, Europe in particular. So we have a number of partners in Europe and have had them many of them for several decades. So Ireland, England, several in France, several in Italy, Germany, Bulgaria, Russia, several in the Netherlands, and I hope I haven't forgotten Belgium. So all over Europe, and they've been offering these certifications for a number of years. About 6 years ago, we actually started selling and offering more certification exams outside North America, or at least the U.S., than we were inside the U.S. So there's been a switch. There was a switch 6, 7 years ago, and more people outside North America are studying for and earning the APICS exams. And the more that happens, the more well-known these certifications will continue to be. And of course, our partners overseas are doing whatever they can to continue to put forth APICS certifications as opportunities for growth for their clients. We're double checking some questions. Someone asked if the 2008 CSCP material covered the CLTD material. No, it does not. They're two different certifications. They have different focuses and teach different bodies of knowledge. Lisa, can you review or overview the maintenance program for this certification? Will this double my required points? I'm assuming this person is CPIM and or CSCP.
Oh, that's a good question. The maintenance program for one certification requires an individual to achieve 75 professional development points over the course of 5 years. What's really nice is once you have a certification and the activities that you do to maintain that certification, because it's still within the APICS supply chain body of knowledge, I would say 99%, if not even 100% of those activities can apply for multiple certifications. So basically you can actually double dip. And so attending a supply chain, let's say a course in supply chain, a review course in supply chain that's 8 hours, that can certainly apply to your 75 points for CSCP, as well as your 75 points for CPIM and 75 points for CLTD as well. So for more information, you can certainly check our maintenance bulletin on the website, but I think what's nice is many of the events that an individual would pursue for one program applies to all programs.
Good, good. And being a multiple certification holder myself, I've found that to be very handy.
Yes, yes.
Someone asked, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, one word of caution, however, when you do have multiple certifications, your maintenance deadlines are going to be different. So pay attention to your maintenance cycle times for each of your certification programs. They do not align. And so you may have a CSCP maintenance deadline in 2018, a CLTD maintenance deadline of 2019. And so just plan for that as well.
And again, as long as the education that applies to multiple certifications was held in that 5-year time period for that certification, you can use it again.
Exactly.
I think at this point, I'm getting the please wrap up signal here. So we're going to wrap it up. Now, again, we will answer all of these questions and put them in a Q&A document that will be posted with the webinar on apics.org. And so if we didn't get to your question today, it will be available to you within a few days. So just a reminder, this is the third webinar in our 4-part webinar series. The next webinar is Thursday, May 4th, and we will be on the current CPIM program and we will touch on updates to the new configured CPIM program. So you can visit the website listed here, the URL listed here, apics.org/2017 certification webinars, all one word, to register for this event. And as an incentive, that webinar will have a special offer for attendees as well. So please share these webinar recordings with your social networks and any colleagues who may be interested or decision makers within your organization. So thank you for attending today and for sending us your questions and comments. Your feedback help us to refine our program to better address your needs, and we really appreciate it. Have a great day. All content and materials included in this online event are the property of APICS and are protected by the United States and international copyright laws. All rights are reserved. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you for participating.